Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to do an interview about this controversial fur coat topic with Mrs. New Hampshire. So stay tuned for that. I do want to apologize that we did not get a very good connection through Google Hangouts. So it's a little tough to listen to, but it's definitely worth listening to. I appreciate you sticking around and hearing the message. So here we go. So I am here today to talk to my friend Kristina Snyder about the New Hampshire Miss America, the controversies revolving around the fur coat. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to flash a little picture here of the Miss America, Miss New Hampshire and the fur coat. So to find out more about this, because normally if you watch my show, I don't talk about news topics, and I pretty much just kind of focus on things that are always evergreen. And I focus on how-tos and educational videos, but I do feel that there could be a very positive message with this video. So I'm going to take you to this topic that has become kind of is starting to build speed and become a nationwide controversial topic. So let me bring my guest on, Kristina. And Kristina, why don't you go ahead and catch people up about what's going on in New Hampshire with Miss New Hampshire, this fur coat, and this whole controversy?
Sure, absolutely. My name's Kristina Snyder. I live in New Hampshire, and I'm with an organization, and that organization, along with a couple others, we are campaigning against Miss New Hampshire and the organization because every year at the pageant, the yearly annual pageant that they award the winner, award a fur coat goes to the winner, and that fur coat is from the New Hampshire Trappers Association. They are a sponsor of the Miss New Hampshire organization, and they donate a fur coat to the winner of the contest that is made from animals that they have trapped and made a fur coat out of. So that's about a dozen animals will make a long fur coat, and that goes to the winner every year. And we have a petition out, and we're going to be protesting because we have approached the organization asking them to stop this antiquated tradition of cruelty and start accepting this coat. And that's kind of in a nutshell what this is all about.
Yeah, I appreciate you catching people up to speed as far as what's going on with this. And I don't know if you guys remember, like when I was a kid, fur coats were seen kind of as a symbol of, I don't know, maybe being rich, I would think. And it was a big deal to get a fur coat. I remember my grandma had a fur coat, and it was like a big deal. And I can imagine, at that time period in the 40s and 30s and stuff, that it was a different time where you probably needed furs to live up north to survive that kind of weather. They really didn't have a good material besides that. But these days, there's really no excuse. Like, to me, fur is so antiquated. It just doesn't. I can't balance the amount of cruelty that goes into making these things so I can have something to live in when it's completely unnecessary now. And I find it kind of cruel, honestly. And I am seeing a national trend of people wearing less and less fur. I can't even remember the last time I've seen someone wear fur in public. I can't even remember it. I've seen fake fur. The fake fur out there now looks pretty real. So if it's just like a style or a fashion thing, you can get the same style, right? So I kind of see what's going on, and I'd like to also say that I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out because this is they're doing it for traditional reasons. But these days, a lot of these women in this organization usually have some sort of cause. So they'll have, like a literacy cause, or they'll have, homelessness cause, and a lot of them have animal rights causes. So I'm really curious if someone gets elected as, she gets picked to be Miss New Hampshire, if she is gonna put this fur coat on. If there's so much blowback now. Like, how many signatures do you have, and like, what are people saying about this?
Right now, current, I think we're at 122,000 signatures. And approximately a little less than 800 are from New Hampshire. And a lot of people might say, well, that's a high amount, but I want to clarify that there's only 438 trappers in New Hampshire. So that's almost twice the amount of signatures that there are even trappers. And plus, Miss New Hampshire is part of a national organization. Miss New Hampshire participates in Win the Crown for Miss America. So people across the nation and even around the world that have signed this petition are looking not favorably upon New Hampshire, that the fact that they accept this fur coat every year that's made from trapped animals. And you pointed out, in the past, people fur was more who maybe go into their grandmother's closet and find an old fur coat, but you just don't see that very much anymore unless it's some celebrity type thing. But major fashion designers are stopping using fur. Gucci and Versace, there's so many. It just makes no sense that a lot of the public here in New Hampshire, in the country and around the world, are waking up the cruelty behind fur. But Miss New Hampshire is instead sticking by this tradition and catering to really just a handful of trappers that are in the state. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the best argument I hear is, oh, well, it's a tradition and we want to keep a tradition going. But just because it's a tradition doesn't mean it's a good tradition. It doesn't mean it's healthy. It was tradition to own slaves, and that's not a good thing. That's an ad hominem excuse to, and it's frustrating to me when people just throw out, well, it's a tradition. My grandparents did it, and they've always had it. And it's like, yeah, but make a new tradition. It's time you changed. That tradition's cruel. Mm-hmm. And so I am glad to see. Mm-hmm. Now, in the middle of all this, let's not forget that there are young women who are pretty much there to win scholarships in these pageants, and they're stuck in the middle of this controversy. That now, are they going to get pressured and bullied into putting this thing on just because, hey, it's tradition and I don't want to screw my chance up to get elected? I want to get picked. Or are they going to take this opportunity and do something really amazing? Like, if you're the first person to refuse that coat, that's going to make news, and you're going to get a lot of fans besides 400 trappers. You're going to have a lot of people applaud you and really reach out about your braveness. So I think if you're listening and you're watching this, one of you runner-ups, the ladies that are competing, this is a huge opportunity to be a hero. You can step up and put an end to this. And I'm hoping that maybe by what you guys are doing, Kristina, that I would imagine the contestants are aware of this at this point, right? You think?
Yeah, I would think so. I definitely would think so. I know that the current title holder is aware of this, and unfortunately, she seems to be sticking by the tradition. However, there are local pageants. I mean, every kind of basic major city, there's a Miss Dairy, there's a Miss Keene, there's a Miss North Country, Lakes Region. There's so many of these women, and the thing is, I met with the vice president of the organization before this all started, because I don't just get to a protest. I want to approach and talk, hey, let's have a conversation about this. And unfortunately, it seems like the powers that be that are at the top of the organization want to stick by their tradition. They like the trappers. They go to the trapping banquets every year. But like young women, they're brought up, they're kind of in there, and whether or not it's implied that they should accept this fur coat is speculation. But yeah, I gotta tell you, absolutely, if the winner says no, I'm not going to accept this fur coat, thank you very much, and she just moves on from that, I mean, she would be a hero. So many of her peers, so many people that work hard in animal advocacy, she would show that she has a big compassionate, and she's also up to date with current social movements, because this is a big movement against fur. It's increasing, it's growing. Fur is going away, and trapping is going away. That's the progress and the evolution of society, and it would show that she's with the times and not mired in the past like the unfortunate organization are. So yeah, we're hoping she'll say no.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I don't keep up with the trapping world much, but the when you said you were actually at a hunting conference, and even the hunters don't like trapping. Like you actually found support in a place I never would think would support you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah, we tabled every year. New Hampshire Fish and Game Department hosts a wild Discover Wild New Hampshire Day, and New Hampshire Citizens Against Recreational Trapping had a table there, which I will give kudos to Fish and Game for being open to all aspects of opinion. But we were there, and we were kind of just going. That whole event brings a lot of sportsmen, a lot of hunters, a lot of anglers, a lot of trappers there. But we didn't get one negative comment, not one. People happy we were there, people supported us, and hunters came up and said yes, they will occasionally they'll get a permit for a deer every year, but they draw the line at trapping. There's something about trapping, and without getting into the specifics of it, because it would just get very depressing, but trapping is a world of its own. What happens to these animals that are caught in these traps is just the cruelty, and that it's still legal and people still do it. And so we got a lot of support that day, and that again shows where society is going and what society is moving towards, is a trap-free society.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that because I can't think of, I don't even know a trapper anymore, and I know some hunters, but none of them would trap. So I'm glad to see it going away as well. It can't go too soon for me, and I understand that again. This is a controversy because you have people, probably the people that run these pageants are real old school, and they've been doing this the same way forever, and they don't see a problem with this. But it's a small minority of people that run this thing up top that it doesn't reflect the time of, almost 2020 we're almost in, and so I'm hoping that what you're doing will help change that opinion. So if people want to get involved and want to help you out, can you tell them where to meet you, where to find you? Give us an idea where to go.
Okay. The protest, if you're interested, it's going to be in front of Pinkerton Academy, which is where the pageant is being held. That's in Barry, New Hampshire. And it's going to be at 4:30 p.m. this Saturday, April 27th. And the organization that's mainly behind it is New Hampshire Recreational Trapping, New Hampshire CART. And you can find that on Facebook or Twitter, that organization, which will have a lot of the updates and the event link if you want to get more specifics or have any more questions about it.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time, Kristina. I'll also try to drop a link for you guys watching in the description so you can find that information a little easier. As always, thanks for watching, and be kind to animals. Thanks.